My name is Valerie Pawid-West, and without further ado, let's start off today's program. So, the title of my talk is called When Tiles Crack, Engineering a Mosaic Life. Like you heard earlier, I finished my biomedical engineering degree before I even came out here to the Philippines and went into pageantry. So this will be a little story on how I took all of the different tiles of my life to engineer where I am today. Chapter 1, 2 parents, 2 cultures, 2 continents. The first tiles. Before I ever took my first breath, the story was already dancing across continents. My dad was on a birthday trip in the Philippines, ending his birthday trip, and then my mom was working in Hong Kong as an OFW. 2 lives and 2 worlds collided in the most extraordinary but ordinary way possible. They met, they connected, and soon after, my mom moved to the US. That's where, spoiler alert, I entered the picture. A Filipino-American child raised in a home where East met West. So, when people ask me, what are you or where are you from? Because trust me, I get it a lot. So I always pause, not because I don't know the answer, but because one answer never feels like enough. I am from the United States, you can see here, my dad is American, but I'm also from the Philippines. My mom is from Ifugao. I am from the in-between. And for a long time, I thought that meant I didn't belong anywhere. But now, at 24 years old, I understand it means I belong everywhere. Takeaway number 1. Your story doesn't have to fit into one box to be whole. You don't have to choose one identity, one culture, or one version of yourself. You are allowed to be made of many pieces, and those early tiles become the foundation of my narrative, the story of my own human mosaic, mismatched, multicultural, beautifully imperfect, and ever-evolving. That takes us into chapter 2, the unexpected colors. Every new passion added a title. As I grew, my mosaic expanded in ways no one could have ever predicted. I explored everything. As the only child of parents coming from 10 and 6, they put me in taekwondo, singing, stage plays, dancing, everything you could imagine. But that wasn't because I wanted to expand my resume, but because I was trying to build up who I was as a person. Every new passion added a tile. Some were bright and joyful, like the moment I stepped onto stage to sing. Singing was my first passion before pageantry. But some were sharp and difficult, like the anxiety that came with being seen, being out in public. You see, I'm really an introvert by nature, not an extrovert, but I pushed myself every single day to put myself in the public scene. Some were even cultural, like discovering Filipino folk dance in college and realizing that movement could be the form of memory for me and my identity here in the Philippines. See, you're not meant to choose one identity and disregard the rest. You're meant to collect them. Your passions, even the ones you may grow out of, like I danced for 10 years, and then I didn't dance for 10 years, but I came back to it. They're not a waste of time. For example, I always knew I wanted to go into healthcare or a science-related field, but that didn't stop me from exploring the arts. Even though I thought I'd wind up in science, I still pursued singing, dancing, and performing, because some of the most valuable time I spent in these beginning years were in those arts, because some of these traits, these performing traits, made me who I am today. They make me more compassionate, and they make me a better practitioner, especially now as an EMT. It's research proven that the more extracurricular activities you go into, the more expansive you can be as a student. It's really proven that even small amounts of creative activity have been shown to improve communication, problem solving, and emotional resilience. Skills that strengthen not only your work, but also who you are as a person, because you're not just preparing for a job at the end of the day, you're becoming a person as early as now. So takeaway 2 to end our chapter 2 exploration. Make the most out of every opportunity. Nurture your diverse talents, especially the ones that don't seem to fit into your 5-year plan. Trust me, at your age, I had a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 15-year plan. Because those pieces that feel unrelated today may become the very tiles that make your mosaic unforgettable. And sometimes it's the tile you never expected, the one that cracks, the one that challenges you, that changes your mosaic the most. Chapter 3, the tile that cracks. For a long time, like I said, I believed I had to go down one path. I had my 5, 10, 15-year plan, become a biomedical engineer, become a pediatric cardiologist, follow the plan, stick to the script, and everything will go well. So I had this plan, and the end was success, a happy life. I took every advanced placement course I could fit into my schedule, and I did every extracurricular activity I could get into. And at the end of the day, I finished with a weighted GPA of 4.1, and naturally, I applied to every Ivy League school I could get my hands on. And not just for any major, I declared one of the hardest, chemical engineering. I had a plan, a timeline, a perfectly straight line. But life is not a linear path. It bends, it curves, and spoiler alert, mine did. I was rejected from every university I applied to that was an Ivy League. And to make things even more surreal, the world shut down in a global pandemic at the exact same time. I graduated in 2020. Suddenly, I found myself in a completely different position than the one I had been imagining for so long. And I'd be lying if I said it didn't take a toll. It felt like the tile I had been polishing for so many years had cracked right in my hands. But once I got my head on straight and embraced the journey instead of resisting it, I discovered something essential. Takeaway number 3. When the tile you've been polishing for years suddenly cracks, it's not the end of your mosaic. It's in these moments you learn to pivot, rebuild, and grow in ways a straight path could never teach you. Because sometimes the universe isn't closing a door, it's just simply nudging you in a different direction to where you meant to be all along. Chapter 4. This is the path I wound up taking. The mosaic rebuilt. Fast forward, I wound up at a university that turned out to be the perfect fit, the University of Delaware. Go Blue Hens. I was still challenged academically, but I was also challenged as a person. I learned how to be part of community. I found people that built me up, supported me through the Filipino Student Association, and I found belonging. And because the University of Delaware was the first American university to offer a study abroad program, I had the opportunity to go abroad and spend a semester in Italy during my sophomore year. That experience changed everything. I interned in a northern Italian hospital during the height of the pandemic. I think they were stage 4 at the time. We didn't even know if we'd be able to go there. And it was really one of the hardest hit regions in the world. And in those hallways, in that chaos, I confirmed my deep love and passion for healthcare. I realized that even if medical school didn't pan out, I would still find my way to work in this field because it wasn't just a career goal, it was really my calling. So, when I returned back from Italy, as you see here, I took a risk. I took a leap of faith, and I switched my major from chemical engineering to biomedical engineering as late as my junior year of college. And it was definitely a risk, absolutely, but one that paid off tenfold, teaching me that no matter where life took me, it's important to take risks. So takeaway 4, it's not enough to simply embrace every opportunity following rejection. Do not blindly just redirect. Of course, I was redirected in life many times leading up to this point, and I was pretty young, trying to find my way in the world. But I learned from every redirection, from every experience. I opened up my eyes when I went to Italy, and I found a new path. because half the value is earned when you also learn from the experiences you receive. The universe sends us messages throughout our life, subtle, loud, sometimes painful, unfortunately, but also beautiful. And it's our job to wake up and listen. But even with all this growth, my life was far from perfect. Newsflash, in your life, it will be far from perfect at times. And that late shift from my majors came with a fair share of challenges and sacrifices. I pushed myself to catch up academically, I stretched myself thin, and somewhere along the way, I lost myself mentally and physically and emotionally. Raise your hand, do me a favor. Raise your hand if you've ever stayed up pulling an all-nighter just to keep up with deadlines. If you don't have your hand raised, you're way better student than I ever was. Raise your hand if you've ever skipped meals or even overindulged in stress eating because academic pressure just kept piling up. I was really guilty of that in college. Now raise your hand if you've sacrificed personal relationships or even the relationship you have with your own physical and mental well-being, all in the name of a traditional idea that success must be measured by academic acceleration. Well, trust me, look around, been there, done that. And yes, it paid off in many ways. I got through, I did graduate, but what was left was a person I couldn't even recognize. This ideal of success, this obsession with achievement, came at what cost? Something had to change. After years of pouring from a nearly empty cup, life pushed me to shift once again. And that's when something unexpected found me, recentering my mind, body, and soul exactly when I needed it most. And that's why I'm here in the Philippines. Chapter 5, the Mosaic expands. Pageantry was what found me at this time. It didn't arrive as a glamorous fantasy. It arrived as a moment of courage, giving myself quiet permission to choose myself for once. Because pageantry wasn't about stages or crowns, it became a space where I could build the parts of myself I had lost along the way, where discipline met creativity, a space where I could finally breathe again. As I embraced this next chapter, something beautiful happened. I became a more interesting candidate, not because I was perfect or I had been in the pageantry industry all my life, like some of my co-candidates, but due to my life experiences up to that point. I wasn't afraid to redirect, to take chances, and to honor every tile of my own mosaic. Not going in directly into medical school, my original dream, yeah, that was quite terrifying. It felt like yet another detour in a life full of detours. Takeaway number 5, a detour isn't a dead end. It's simply a different road that can lead you back to the dream you started with. And I'm not alone in that. This is the gallery of the greats and the lates. Some of the world's most impactful people found success through redirection. Vera Wang entered fashion as late as 40, and her net worth is now almost 270 million USD. Colonel Sanders franchised KFC at 62. And Steve Jobs famously said that being pushed off his path was the best thing that ever happened to him. Redirection is not failure, it's preparation. In my own detour away from science and momentarily into pageantry, I discovered something powerful. I could use every single tile, imperfect or perfect, of my mosaic to serve others as early as right now, even before medical school. That's how my advocacy, the Pulse of Hope Foundation, was born. A mission rooted in science, compassion, and culture, committed to uplifting the underserved communities of the Philippines. So chapter 6, the mosaic comes together. Life may have started in laboratories, surrounded by pipettes, prototypes, and problem sets, like a lot of you are right now. But this creative journey pulled me out of confined spaces and pushed me into communities. Pageantry didn't take me away from science like many would have thought, but it actually expanded the way I could use my science background. It showed me that healing doesn't only happen in hospitals. It happens in classrooms, barangays, indigenous communities, and conversations. And that's my calling for now. A calling shaped not by perfection, but by rejection, redirection, and perseverance. Even the winding roads can still lead you back to the original dream. Who knows? Maybe 5 to 10 years, I'll still be a doctor serving you at your local hospital. But for now, I'm simply taking the scenic route, gathering the skills, the stories, and the strength I'll need when I finally arrive. Pageantry and my advocacy work became the tile that grounded me, the one that helped me recenter my mind, body, and soul, and reminded me that my mosaic was still unfolding. Every tile informs the next, every experience strengthened the others, and every detour added dimension. So takeaway number 6, our last takeaway of the day. A mosaic doesn't require uniformity. Instead, it requires authenticity. My life has been in no way a straight path, a straight line like I imagined when I was sitting here your age. Instead, it's a collection of imperfect, mismatched, but meaningful tiles that somehow fit together. And the more I embrace each one, the clearer the picture becomes. So, in closing, if you take anything from my story, let it be this. Number 1, redirection is not only the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new chapter. When life shifts, shift with it. Let the new tile find its own place. Number 2, you are not one dream, one talent, one identity, or one career. You are a collection of experiences. You could start off in one field and decide you want to go back to school, change your field completely later in life, and that's okay. Number 3, the imperfect pieces matter just as much as the perfect ones, maybe even more so, because sometimes the cracks let the light in. Number 4, embrace the bountiful, unpredictable, limitless experiences life offers. Every class you take, every hobby you try, every failure you survive, every passion you outgrow, they all belong. And you are allowed to take detours. My name is Valerie Pawid-West, a Filipino-American, an engineer, and an advocate. My mosaic is multidimensional, still unfolding, and so is yours. Distinct, important, and beautifully imperfect. Thank you so much.